So let's go ahead and take you through some of the dailies this morning. And we'll start with Blueprint newspaper here today. It was shocking when the chairman of the EFCC, talking about his 100 days in office, did speak about this one. EFCC uncovers religious sect laundering. Look at that. 7 billion naira for terrorists. What are we doing to ourselves in this country? So they said that they met some brick wall in terms of how to do something about that moving forward, but eventually they pushed back and they're hoping to keep going because they say this cannot be allowed to happen or keep happening. They have to stem the tide, as they say it. So that's a big lead on the front page of Blueprint paper today.
This Nigeria has a different story, but has to do with the Naira as well. Money. Senate summoned CBN's governor on state of the economy. That's what this Nigeria is leading with. Naira, how is it going? What would the Senate be able to accomplish with the call of a CBN governor? As the lead story on the front page of this Nigeria.
Well, Business Day is also talking business, of course, talking Naira. And then the lead story is no less concerning. Anger, misery across Nigeria as Naira freefall worsens. CBN's new FX rules seen boosting Naira dollar supply. Who's making that assurance? You find the details continue on the inside pages. Page 2 is where you find the story on the rider this morning. Anger, misery rise across Nigeria as Naira freefall worsens. That's Business Day's lead story today.
Equally looks at a similar scenario. CBN clamps down on banks, pegs trade assets in Forex. So, and then you also see some of the riders there, which highlights a lot of those. So we'll be coming to that in just a moment. But that's the big lead, the front page of Vanguard here today.
Well, the Daily Independent has something related to that first one you started with, Jimberlin. Religious sect laundering money for terrorists coming from the EFCC's chairman. Yes, indeed, it was. When that broke, it was indeed a breaking news out there. That's it from Daily Independent.
Well, you know the story we've been hammering on insecurity. Well, that's what the leadership newspaper leads with today. And pretty much talking about insecurity and a decision taken by northern governors. No negotiation with bandits. Northwest governors vow. That's the lead story on the front page of the leadership newspaper today. That story is on page 4. Zamfara launches 2,600 community guards. A unitary police force can't secure Nigeria, says General Guzou. Poverty, criminality in North need urgent attention. That's coming from the Vice President. Details of that on page 4. That's the lead story of the leadership newspaper today.
Well, yes, indeed, guys. Much as we can see some efforts or activities on the part of the CBN, Vanguard highlights that, several other dailies too. Even this Nigeria, which you highlighted, doing something about the free fall of the Naira. So it is hugely important that a lot of the challenges and complaints out there, in fact, several people wonder, what is the government doing about institutions that are charging, almost replacing the Naira with the dollar? Because they say, how could we be in the same country and schools are charging fees in dollars? Rents are charging in dollars, and they wonder, what is that supposed to be allowed? Isn't that a flagrant violation of the laws? Is government aware of this? Are they looking the other way? What is going on? Because they think all of this contributes in one way or the other to putting pressure on the dollar, much as they're trying to see how we could ensure production and manufacturing gets back on stream like since yesterday. But with all of these people demanding Forex for these activities, what's the kind of got more pressure? So something needs to be done, needs to be addressed.
No, Chamberlain, what's going on here reminds me of a picture we saw one time of the situation in Mozambique where there were everything you wanted to do, because if you're carrying the local currency, you practically need a wheelbarrow to be able to move money to buy little items as much as a loaf of bread. You have to.
Okay, Zimbabwe, yeah.
Yeah, was it Zimbabwe? Yeah. So everybody's now looking for the US dollar because it's easier to carry. That's the situation here. Well, I do know that we had a guest here one day who said, until we stop dollarizing the Nigerian market, So the politicians, the governors, and all those in public office need to stop dollarizing the system. And he made an allegation. He asserted that many times at the end of the month, what you find is go to the forex market, you won't see any cash, because many people will go in there just to buy up, to mop up whatever it is they can find. So indeed, the CBN needs to do something about that. But that other matter also about the EFCC discovery speaks a lot to what's going on in the system. And the attempts to mop up excess cash in circulation, again, CBN needs to wake up, and how are they going to handle that so that there's not too much of cash in circulation yet? There's still cash in circulation, so that we don't begin to have the situation we had where you go to the POS, you want to get some cash, or to the ATM, and there's no cash. That happened around the December period.
So clearly, all eyes will be on the CBN and those who are managing the economy to find out, are your policies working? So the result out there is all we need to know whether or not they're working.
Well, you're very correct, Jimmy. One of the things that has, to be clear, this is not the first time we were talking about the free fall of the Naira. I just saw a report, just checking, as far back as 2001. And hey, how far back does this go really, guys? I mean, in the 80s, we were talking about the Naira more pricey, more valuable than the dollar, just in the 80s, right? And that should give us some reasons as to exactly what is happening and why is this happening. Yes, I agree, the CBN has its job cut out for it, but it has to be collaboratively done. What are the things hindering us from producing? There are a number of people, specialists, economists, experts that have continued to say, until Nigeria begins to produce, become a producing nation, we may not see the kind of significant appreciation of the Naira that we want to see. So back to every single one of us, everyone in business. What are the things that we need to do? What are the issues that the federal government needs to address urgently in order for the Naira, for Nigeria's currency to appreciate? Until those things are done, I don't know if we're ever going to get out of this rut. But hey, as you said, the CBN has its job cut out for it. So if the CBN has to collaborate, call everyone to a round table and let's discuss how to make this better. I love the story that we found on the front page of one of the papers earlier, on the front page of the Leadership newspaper, in particular, talking about insecurity, and when the Northwest governors have vowed that there will be no negotiation with bandits. That's very cheering to hear. Front page, lead story, Leadership newspaper, no negotiation with bandits. Cheering to hear, and very, very applaudable as well. But how about the necessary collaboration? How about ensuring that the local government levels are active and functional? How about, we need governors to come out and tell us what they are doing at the local government levels to ensure that the security councils in each of the local governments are active, because these are the front lines. The community development associations, are they active? Are they well mobilized to do what is needful? We just heard recently that Plateau State is considering a joint task force, JTF, with the military to help in ensuring security of the people so that everyone else can sleep with their two eyes closed. Granted, wonderful, amazing, but how do we deal with the issues right there at the local government levels? It's an issue of concern that we cannot run away from. Granted, no negotiations with bandits, agreed. All the people that have made comments in public and saying, we know that so persons are behind these things, fine. Can we call them to a round table as well and ensure that the needful is done? That's my take on the front page of the Leadership newspaper this morning. Kimberly and Nyota.